We will now have a Dharma Talk by Reverend Martin.
Good morning. Bye, gozaimasu. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you. It's nice to be here in lovely Vancouver with the sun shining. And when I left Calgary, it was, I think, on our 5th day of nothing but cloud and solid rain. And I'm thinking, what a change of events. Usually one would have expected the opposite, but it's great to be here, and it's great to be here in a city that has a winning hockey team. I often think my journey with Buddhism, that it has been essentially a journey of awareness. I was talking on Friday to a small group here, and I did a little talk, and I called it the 4 truths in a funeral. And I was saying that the essence of Buddha's message, when the first teaching he gave us, was about these 4 truths: that life is difficult, we cause the difficulty, we can sort of remedy the difficulty and the suffering, and that there's this 8-fold path, 8 things that we can do. And then we die. And I thought, boy, not a really fun message, but I think there is hope. Buddhism is sometimes said to begin with the idea of right view, that first step, right view, right understanding. And for me, sometimes I prefer the word awareness. I asked this wonderful bunch of young people that you have here that are doing the service, and part of my talk to them was, I used the metaphor of leaving home, and what do you take with you when you leave home? And none of them said they were about to leave home or had left home, so I don't know, parents, maybe you should be a little concerned about that, but they seem quite happy at home. Anyways, I suggested that perhaps, if anything that they take, they can't take a whole bunch, but any time we start out on some kind of a journey, the best thing we can do is take an awareness of that 8-fold path, awareness of ourselves, and eventually I think as Shin Buddhists, that awareness of the Eightfold Path, that it has its limitations. And this is what Shinran observed, that there's only so much we can do, and ultimately we do come to rely on Amida Buddha for our awareness. For me, that Eightfold Path is the idea of action. What do we do? What sort of a person am I? And that is exemplified in that Eightfold Path, those 8 things: the right view, thought, speech, my conduct or my action, my livelihood, my effort, mindfulness, meditation. The second part, I think, that is so important in our awareness is our reaction. How do I react? How do I react to what seems to come to me? And perhaps that is where Shin Buddhism really shines, that we talk about Amida Buddha always working to bring me to awareness, to bring my enlightenment about. How we act, how we react is ultimately going to determine how happy I might be in my life. And it always takes, I think, constant adjustment. It always takes us to be reflective, to be quiet perhaps, to listen. I can think of nothing better than perhaps humor which obviously, to me, illustrates this idea of how we act, perhaps, but more importantly, how we react. How we react to a situation. So if I could, I'd like to share a little joke with you. Is there anybody here who's golfers? There must be a few golfers in the crowd. Oh dear. One? I think you may have to explain this to everybody then, okay? Is there anybody here who's Scottish by descent? Oh dear. I thought I was going to, oh no. A little bit? Okay. Well, I was kind of planning that most of you wouldn't be. I thought that was going to be a fairly safe bet at this temple, but there's this couple that been married for quite a while, and they were pretty good golfers. That was their passion. They loved to golf, and they would go out very regularly. And they were both very competitive golfers. Okay? And they would always try to be, win. So one day they're out on the golf course and they're starting off on their round, and the husband comes up to the tee and he's standing there and he's doing his wiggle, as golfers do. His head's down, he's in concentration mode. Suddenly he looks up and he says to his wife, he says, "Darling, there's something I have to tell you." Several years ago, we were going through a bad spell, and I have to confess that I had an affair. He says, "It's been really burning me all these years. I just thought I wanted to get it out in the open." She looks at him, she goes, "Oh, honey, that was years ago. That was years ago. Get over it. Let's move on." He thought, whoa, that wasn't the reaction he was expecting. He thought, well, okay, this is okay. This is cool. So they continue on with their golfing. As they're getting near the end of their 18 holes, she's standing up there and she's got her golf club out and she's getting ready, and she looks at him and she says, "Seeing as we're being very honest today, there's something I have to tell you." She says, "Before we met, before I knew you, I used to be a man. And I had a sex change operation because I felt it just wasn't quite right for me." And he's standing there and he's kind of looking at her. And you can see the reaction of the jaw kind of drops a little bit, and he's taking this in and taking it in. And then the anger starts to well up. And he's grabbing the golf clubs out of his bag and he's smashing them on the ground, throwing them in the water and wrapping them around the trees. He's looking at her and he's saying, "All these years, you mean all these years that we've been married, all these years that we've been golfing together, you tell me now that you used to be a man? And every time we've gone out to golf, you've been hitting from the ladies' tee?" I hope as you go through life on your journey and you're increasing awareness, that part of that awareness is directed back at yourselves. Because that's where the true awakening, I believe, comes from. So once again, thank you for having me here. In closing, I would like to say, go Canucks, go. I'll be home on Wednesday night, and I will be slightly bitter, but that's my problem, but I will be cheering for the Canucks. Okay? Thank you very much. Now Namo
Namo Amidavas. Namo Amidavas. Namo Amidavas. Namo Amidavas. Namo Amidavas. Namo Amidavas.
Thank you, Reverend Martin, for your Dharma talk.